One. Welcome back to Backward Point. This is your co-host Bashar, all the way from Canada, and with me, joining from me all the way from Pakistan is.
Nazar Sayed.
This is hard, man. This is I can't believe how people do long distance because being away from you has been difficult. But I'm thankful for the podcast that we're able to talk on a weekly basis. This episode is going to be a sort of a summary of what's going on in the world of cricket. We'll be talking about the IPL final that just happened, the World Test Championship final that's going to happen. And just everything else in the world of cricket, Asia Cup updates, World
Babar
Cup
Azam
updates.
and Rizwan are Harvard alumni as well. We have to talk about that.
Absolutely, that's on the list of the agenda.
Yeah.
So let's get straight into it. IPL 2023 final, CSK versus Gujarat Titans. The game was supposed to happen on Sunday, but there was a rain out, so they had a reserve day. So the game happened on Monday, and it was a thrilling final. I didn't watch it much because, if I'm being transparent, I haven't been watching much of the IPL. I just think it's too much cricket for me to follow on a daily basis. And it's like the same thing over and over again. High scoring matches, 200 being chased, just batting galore. I'm a bowler myself, so I like to see some good swing bowling at display, batsmen being troubled. So it's just tough for me to follow. You, on the other hand, you did not even watch the final, except for the last over that we will discuss. And you mentioned it was because of a principal stance that you have. Could you mind explaining to the fans why did you not watch the IPL final?
Yeah, I mean, you could call me a bit biased about this. I totally see where my biases come from. I think IPL is the third biggest league in the world. It's my third favorite, I should say. Number one is the PSL. Number two is the GT20 in Toronto. Personal reasons, obviously. PSL being just players that I am more acquainted with. Any league that has Babar Azam, Shaheen Afridi, that's a league that's won, in my opinion. It's just won at life. GT20, close to home. It's our little like IPL, PSL situation. We see these branded players come in, they play very close to us. It's fun. It's almost like I wouldn't say backyard cricket in the way that it's the quality of cricket is less. It's this backyard cricket that's literally like 20 minutes from our house. And we drive up, we pull up, we grab hot dogs, and we watch like Shaheen Afridi versus Yuvraj Singh or what have you, right? So in my opinion, those two leagues just hold a higher place in my heart. The problem with the IPL, it's not at all a secret, is that I just think the BCCI and the IPL itself are bigoted. There is a huge bias against Pakistani players. It's evident to the fact that they will allow Pakistani players to play who have different nationalities, British Pakistanis, Zimbabwean Pakistanis. We've seen them play and star quite stupendously in the IPL, but we've never seen Pakistani players except for the first edition back in 2008. So I just think on principle, I don't watch it. I'm pretty sure the cricket is great. I would love to see MS Dhoni. I do see MS Dhoni every now and then. Clips come up on my For You page, or I'm looking through reels and I see them. And I appreciate them. MS Dhoni is a legend in the game of the cricket, top 20 greatest players of all time. He deserves everything in this world. He's genuinely one of the players that have transcended boundaries. It's just that on principle, it's hard for me to watch this league. I love Virat Kohli. I heard that he made back-to-back centuries. Haven't seen them, but I wish him the best. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time again. But on principle, whatever the BCCI stands for currently at the moment and whatever the IPL stand for currently at the moment, I cannot back that regime slash franchise cricket. Like it doesn't sit well with me. But that being said, I did check out the final match. I checked it out by checking it. I mean, I skimmed it over. I saw the Cricinfo headings, and I saw that last over. And it's absolutely wild how similar the PSL final was with the IPL final. And I think you would want to talk about that a little bit more as well.
Yeah, I mean, 10 off, 2 needed with Jadeja on strike. And he hit the 6 and a 4, a dream end for CSK in front of like 100,000 people at Ahmedabad Stadium. And this led to Dhoni winning his 9th trophy in total. And this includes 3 ICC trophies. The man's won everything to ever exist.
Yes.
Maybe except for a test maze. I want to double check on that. But yeah, one of the greatest captains to have ever captained any team. the legacy he has left behind for India and now for CSK. We're not sure that he's retired yet. He still wants to come back. I think he mentioned that he wants to come back for one more season because of this win as a gift for the people of CSK. But just an absolutely thorough gentleman and a great ambassador for the sport. And just a great mind. I mean, like the way his brain works during games. I've watched MS Dhoni's captaincy so closely now that I feel like he has a formula that he wants to follow. For example, like he wants to have specific type of players in his team. Like he wants to have a lefty opening batting combination. He wants to have middle order in the middle. He wants to have part-time bowlers, a mystery spinner, like a bowler who balls good with the new ball. And you can see that with the teams that he has made during his tenure as captain for India and now for CSK. So, I'm definitely taking notes to see how I can improve when I'm captaining my club team. But just there is one thing I wanted to mention. Dhoni is a legendary player. However, there's this conspiracy that I've been hearing, and the conspiracy is that India has not won an ICC trophy since 2013, and
Yeah,
Dhoni has been part of teams, post that trophy win, and he was even part of the team as a mentor for the 2021 ICC T20 World Cup. And the conspiracy is that Dhoni did not want India to win any more titles after they won everything under his captaincy, because there might have been a scenario where if they did win under Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, that his legacy might have been tarnished and the trophies that he has won under his tenure might have been diminished. And this is also something that's I heard just people, mumbling about for Wasim Akram back in the day, where the reason why we may have lost the final in 96, the quarterfinal in 96, and the final in 99 was because if they had won those World Cups, the performance of the 92 World Cup team would have been diminished. The star performances that they gave might not have had that value that it has now.
Now, I'm not sure about that. Having heard stories about MS Dhoni through the grapevines, through players like Virat Kohli who hold him to a very high esteem, that doesn't really add up to the MS Dhoni that we know through the papers. And MS Dhoni through the papers that we know through the media is a guy who will text Virat Kohli when he's down and be like, "Hey, you good, buddy?" Like when he loses his test captainship, he goes to VK and he's like, "I got your back. I got your support." So I don't know how much substance is that. This is more like rumors. I don't want to dive too much deep into this. It doesn't. If anything, the legacy that the 92 Pakistan team has is that the fact that they produced players that were so good that played for 20 years after 1992, right?
But again, won nothing,
but that doesn't diminish. Like if they had won something, that just goes back to how amazing the 92 team was for Imran Khan, right? Same thing with 99. If Pakistan had won the 99 World Cup, then Wasim Akram would have been that guy that would have been said, would have been attached to all these amazing players. Abdul Razak, Shaheen Afridi, Shoaib Akhtar, Azhar Mahmood, they all came out under Wasim Akram. So Wasim Akram would be heightened. Just as whenever you praise Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, you have to praise MS Dhoni, and then you have to praise Tendulkar, and then you have to praise Ganguly. Like it goes back like that. Everybody's paying and feeding off of each other. I think this notion that the one cannot stand without the other, with the other is ridiculous. MS Dhoni does not seem like that kind of person or insecure enough to have that sort of situation work for him. So no, I call BS, complete BS.
The other thing to point out with this IPL was Shubman Gill emerged as the highest run scorer of the IPL, and the second highest run scorer in the history of one season of the IPL, just behind Virat Kohli. And I think that's an incredible stat because he was in some form. Recently we saw him replace Shikhar Dhawan and India's ODI team. He is now India's all-3 format opener alongside Rohit Sharma. And I think he is a talent to watch out for. Somebody, maybe too early to say this, but somebody who might take the torch forward once Virat Kohli says goodbye to the game. But he's a talent to watch out for. And I'm excited to see what he achieves in his career in the coming years.
100%. Shubman Gill is one of those names that has piqued my interest for sure. Ever since he hit the double century in ODI cricket, was it last year? Can you remind me of that?
I had a double check on that. I don't remember.
Was it Gill or was it somebody else? I know there was another person that hit a double century.
Kishan hit a double
Was it
hundred.
Ishan Kishan? Okay,
Lefty
maybe I'm
batsman,
confusing
yeah.
them. But I've seen Gill again highlights on the IPL on my For You page, and he's just a bombastic player. There's no stopping him, and he seems very dangerous. And I would love to see him in the international circuit a little bit. We've seen time and time again these amazing players come out of the IPL, but they kind of bomb in the international circuit, and that's where you got to really prove your mettle. That goes for any league, by the way. That goes for PSL, LPL, whatever you want to call it. These league games are very different from international pressure. That's just where the real game's at. That's where you prove what kind of player you are. I would love to see Shubman Gill in the circuits and see what he's really made of.
You're absolutely right. I think franchise cricket success does not necessarily mean success in international cricket. I remember Varun Chakravarti was one of the bowlers in the 2021 T20 World Cup that was very hyped on the Indian media, saying he'll be the next, Ajanta Mendes or like Murali. I don't know, that's the next mystery bowler. But when he came on the scene, just couldn't take the pressure of an India-Pakistan match first up.
Yep.
And, Rizwan and Babar smashed him, and he's not been in the Indian team since. So again, IPL success does not necessarily mean success for the Indian team. But the IPL, from your point of view, you did not watch it, but it's hard to not talk about it because it's so popular in the media. And after the NFL, it has the second most expensive media rights on a per game basis.
That's crazy stat.
I think the IPL has become something similar to what the NFL in the USA is, or what the NBA in North America is, because India, just as a country in itself, their market is so huge, they don't need people from Pakistan or Bangladesh to tune in to watch, because their own market is so massive.
Yeah, that stat that you just gave me about the NFL is crazy because the Super Bowl is one of the most watched / most expensive games to be held in the world, just because you could just judge it by the ad slots that people pay for to show their ads on the Super Bowl. IPL having those similar numbers, even comparable, that's crazy to me. I think it's at the end is a money game. It's a finance game. IPL makes money not just for the BCCI, but for the ICC and the players. Why wouldn't they play? Like, there's no hard feelings for whoever plays the IPL. The IPL is one of the most prestigious league, the oldest league in modern day cricket. So, more props to that. I just think, personally speaking, I was shocked that it was still going on. This league has started as a 3-week league, has now gone up to 6 or 7 weeks, 43, 44 day, league. That's insane, right? Is that just me thinking that this league is way too long?
And then because of this, and because of, like you said, all the money involved, the window of international cricket is blocked. So all the best players are available for the league. So and they keep adding more teams each year, which keeps adding more games, which keeps prolonging how long the tournament is. So I don't know what the future of the IPL is going to be. But I do think the IPL is over. Yeah,
I do think it's going to be an NBA type model where it's going to be Eastern Conference versus Western Conference, and then they play the playoffs and then meet in the finals. Just a quick aside, shout out to my boy Jimmy Butler for finally sealing the deal, and he's made it to the NBA Finals with the Miami Heat. Kyle Lowry again, our former Raptors, also in the Heat, so shout out to them. Hopefully they win. But what I'm coming back to cricket, it's just insane to me that the league just keeps getting longer. I fear, and I mean, we also predicted this, but we predict a day where the IPL will run for half a year, 3 months, 4 months, something where a good chunk of time will be dedicated to the IPL, and only Pakistan and Ireland will be playing cricket internationally at that point, because they seem to be like the only teams that get not chosen for the IPL.
Yeah, this is a topic I wanted to touch base at later, but if you scratch the surface,
go ahead.
Let's get into it. A lot of these IPL team owners have also bought teams in different leagues, in the CPL, in the Major League Cricket Tournament, in the SAT20 in South Africa, in the ILT20 in Dubai. And recently saw news coming in that Jason Roy and Jofra Archer were offered year-long contracts to play for these different leagues and for the same franchise, just in different leagues. And that would mean that they would need to quit England cricket, so they can be directly contracted through these teams. Like, for example, Jofra Archer is associated with the Mumbai Indians. Mumbai Indians has teams in different leagues all around the
Around the
world.
world.
And yes, so at least 4 leagues that I can think of. And, in total, these leagues would run for like 6-7 months a year. And Mumbai Indians would pay Jofra Archer like $2-3-4 million a year just so they can retain him and have him available for all games for all the leagues. And then in return, he wouldn't be able to play for any games for England. And this was reported by the Daily Mail. So very concerning news in my opinion. And the same thing with Jason Roy, because if this does go through, this would change the whole dynamic of international cricket if your main players are bought out by the franchises.
I'm glad you mentioned Jofra Archer because I just read in the news that he might be out for the World Test Championship because he was in the IPL and he got injured. And I think that's such BS news there. It's pissed me off because this man is
The Ashes,
prone to
actually.
injury. The Ashes, even better. This man is so prone to injury, and then the ECB sends him out to leagues, which is fine. He should make his money. I totally get that. But then you're risking your player before 3 of the most important cricketing events happen in the year: the Ashes, the WTC, and the World Cup. And he's out for at least the Ashes, maybe the WTC, and maybe even the World Cup. That's insane to me. Kane Williamson busts an elbow or a knee and gets out of the World Cup. That's Kane Williamson. He's the greatest batsman of all time. One of top 10, top 20, whatever you want. These are just, there has to be some sort of load management. And I feel like load management, whenever it's applied, international cricket or cricket that's played at the highest form gets a hit and not league cricket. We have Shaheen Afridi playing in the county right now. He's great exposure. He's playing a great knock. He's doing great there. But if he gets injured, he's gone for 6 months and we have the World Cup in 6 months. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of regulation. I feel like the ICC is chopping themselves in the foot right now because they're making a lot of money with these leagues. But ultimately what's going to happen is that it's sort of the bastardization of cricket. Once these leagues take over, international cricket won't mean anything. ODI cricket is already in threats, like we talked about this in the last podcast. Where do we go from here? Like, is it just going to be a year-long 20-over leagues? Because if that's the case, then we can say goodbye to international cricket. The World Cups and all of that will just be what we're playing for. We can already see with players like Babar Azam, who is just completed his 8th year around the earth with cricket, only at 100 ODIs. Kohli did that in 6 years. Like, we're already lagging behind. The stats are already getting different. Players are already playing in different eras within a few years of each other. So it's alarming times. I don't want to be like concern trolling and being like, hey, it's the end of the cricket right now. Maybe it's not. There's still a long way to go. Like, I've never been as excited about the Ashes and the World Test Championship as I am right now. Not just because we're covering this on this podcast, it's because I want to see the best players fight it out in the best format of cricket available. So there is definitely that, but I feel like the purists like us, few and far beyond.
I think, yeah, it does come back to, the priorities of the cricket boards as well as the players. Next week, England is playing Ireland at Lord's for a one-off test. And Ireland's main bowler, Joshua Little, prioritized the IPL Final over playing a test match for Ireland at Lord's. So, in addition to that, India is playing the World Test Championship Final next week in just a week time from when we're talking right now. And players like Rahane, Shubman Gill, Mohammad Shami, and Jadeja were playing in the IPL Final. So now they have to go to England to prepare for a test match.
Completely different mindset. Completely different mindset.
Different mindset, different ball, different kit, different ground, different conditions. So the question is, where are the priorities at? We saw players like Steve Smith and Mitchell Stark opt out of the IPL auction so they can focus on the Ashes, so they can focus on the World Test Championship Final. And I think this is a bit sad for me to say when money often takes over national pride and prioritizing preparation for national duty.
I mean, that's what we've been seeing for the past few years, ever since the IPL started making big money. And I'm talking big money. It's just been that over everything else. And then we started seeing all the other cricket boards follow suit because they have to make money. They have to sustain it. And I'm again, the players should deserve all the money that they get. They have such a small window to make as much living as they can so that they can sustain themselves forever. So I get that aspect of it. But as a fan, as a viewer of the game, I'm always a little bit disappointed in where it's heading.
All right, so we were talking about the getting into the World Test Championship final. India facing off Australia, the top two teams in the league, the table of the World Test Championship. Nobody, by the way, knows how the points work, how the home games are valued at. We're just going with the flow and following and trusting, I guess, what the ICC is saying. Who do you think is the favorites for this final coming up? India, by the way, again, has not won any ICC tournament since Champions Trophy in 2013. So this, I think, is going to be a big match for Rohit as a captain and the Indian team as a whole.
Part of me wants India to win. I think for Rohit's legacy, also for Virat's legacy, I think this is important for them to have that. I mean, great players are great regardless of if they have trophies in their cabinet or not. But at the same time, it's always nice to have something that shines that you can always look back at and be like, hey, we did that as a team together. That being said, I think England's going to demolish them. It's their home
Australia.
turf. Oh, sorry, my bad.
India
Australia's going to
versus
demolish
Australia.
them. Yeah, it's basically their home turf. Very similar conditions as Australia's. Its bouncy pitches are always difficult for Indian batsmen or batsmen from the subcontinent to play. They have one of the best bowling pace attacks in the world, with Mitchell Starc leading it. I think it's going to be a great game. I hope it goes down to the wire, but I think India lose it. They bag it end of fourth today. I don't even think it goes to the fifth.
Because if Australia win, they'll be basically going into the Ashes series as World Test Championship finals, which I think might have a psychological impact on the England team.
Man, I'm just saying, like, Anderson has been talking, not Anderson, Stuart Broad's been talking shit on social media, being like, last Ashes don't count. Well, this guy's stupid. I don't know what's going on. What is he saying? It makes no sense. If this is the depiction of being a sore loser, which I'm not a fan of. So I think Australia is heated. It's always fun when there's this sort of social media storm behind the Ashes. It's always fun when there's rivalries like that. But I think this is going to be, even the Ashes is going to be Australia's to take home. They're vital. Bazball will crack under the Australian rain. Australia is something different, man. They know how to win. They have a winning mindset. Their formula is airtight, and they're coming out for blood. If I'm being honest, they're not taking no for an answer.
That's a great take. I think I'm gonna have Australia, like you said, favorites for this World Test Championship final. I just think they're better prepared. They've prioritized red ball far more than India, just more recently. And I think just based off of their batting and bowling attack, I think this is one of the best Australian Test teams in a while. There's going to be a lot of eyes on David Warner. There's a lot of talks about him being arrested for the Ashes or being dropped essentially. So they're trying to give him a chance in the first, the World Test Championship final, as well as the first test against England in the Ashes. So those two, if he doesn't score runs, could be the last time we ever see David Warner in a white kit for Australia. But I'm excited to see what happens. Test cricket, I think, is the best format. And in addition, if it's happening in England, it just adds a different flavor to the game. I love a Duke's ball swinging all day long and seeing the batsmen being squared up. So I'm looking forward to a prime, I wouldn't say a prime, but an experienced Broad Anderson bowling to the Australian side. I also wanted to talk about the Pakistani players currently involved in county cricket. So we have Naseem Shah, Shaheen Afridi, Haider Ali, Zaman Khan, Shadab Khan, Osama Mir, Hassan Ali, and Shan Masood, as well as Zafar Gohar playing for different teams within the county championship. Right now, they're having the T20 Blast going on. Not all the games are televised on Sky Sports. Some are just locally recorded. And so we see clips here and there of what's going on. There's, I think, multiple teams within the T20 Blast, and they're grouped into different groups. And they face each other. And the top teams will eventually go for playoffs and finals, which they call Finals Day sometime in July. It's going to happen at Edgbaston. So good to see the Pakistani players going to play this tournament. There's a gap between Pakistan's next international game, so for them to go to England, get used to those conditions, and just play competitive cricket and be icon players there. Like especially for example, like Zaman Khan has got picked up for Derbyshire, and to see him bowl there, get that experience. Be cooked under pressure and be a main player when you're playing these leagues as a foreign player, this additional player, because you are the foreign player, so the teams expect better performances from you, and they expect you to be like one of the key players and have key contributions for the team for the win.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that all these players are doing like they do really well in the county leagues anyways. I just saw a Shadab Khan's catch on point. Did you see that?
No, I missed that. No.
Insane field work there. I mean, Shadab is no doubt one of the best fielders that Pakistan has had, and one of the best fielders that Pakistan exports out into the leagues. But definitely one of those things that I'm in awe of these players. Shaheen Afridi just finishing the game off with a 6 in the last ball recently. Saw that on our stories. If people aren't following us on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, then they're missing out because we post a lot of stuff there. And that's like day-to-day content. So definitely check us out there on the socials there. But like you said, I saw it because you posted it on our Backward Point story. And I was like, whoa, Faseem Akramar completing final touches. And I think because of that, Shaheen Afridi will be such an asset in the World Cup, man. That number 6-7 position when he's going to come. I just need him to stay on this piece for two overs, 3 overs. Give me a good, 18 ball 50, 20 ball 45, whatever it might be. That's all it takes from, a score that's par to above par. So I'm very exciting stuff happening right now.
I'm all for this. Shaheen Afridi's under arc. However, there's been talks about Shaheen Afridi focusing maybe too much on his batting, which in essence might affect his bowling. And we've seen recently, post injury, he has not been the same bowler yet. His pace has gone down, his accuracy has gone down, his swing hasn't been the same, and more importantly, his death bowling has been really impacted. He's been smacked in the death all over the place, which I think that's an area where he needs to focus on. It would be a good addition to have his batting there as well, but I think his main priority should be bowling up front with the new ball in the middle overs and in the death with Pakistan needs it the most.
I mean, I think we have to make peace with the fact that maybe this is as best as Shaheen Afridi goes after injury. 138, 140 clicks, 142 if he's really pissed off. I think it's time to make peace with that. I'm ready to find closure in that situation. I think the Pakistani fans need to as well. That being said, 138, 140, when you're coming in, left arm swinging in, still insane to play. I know he may have lost 5 to 10 clicks there, but it's just his ability to move the ball in the air and then off the pitch. It's still going to be unplayable. He was lethal in the T20 World Cup that just came by. He was just crazy in that as well. So it's just one of those things that if he's focusing on his batting, then I would like him to do that. I think it's an asset. Him at 138, 140 is still unplayable. I did, by the way, for your surprise, we did get the PCB merch that we had ordered in. So I have that right here. But we did get the this shirt. No, I'm just gonna pull it up real quick.
And if you're not watching us on video, this is a shirt from the PCB which says they cannot play him. Famous words by Nazar when Shaheen Afridi got KL Rahul bowled at the 2021 T20 World Cup.
Exactly.
A shirt that I wanted. I'm going to flex on that. I'm going to wear that on this podcast. You will see it very soon. Thank you for getting it, and I'm excited.
That's
for
what
it.
I'm saying. So like this moment that's been inked into our memories forever. They cannot play him. I mean, that's still the case, right? So with that aspect of it, and then you add a quick cameo, 15, 20 ball cameo. He stays on the pitch. He, just exceeds your runs scored from 280 to 310. That's all you need to sometimes just defend totals in crunch matches. So I'm looking forward to this change, man. I'm all for it.
But you know what? Something heart to heart between me and you. I expected better from Shaheen Afridi. I mean, I know injuries are part and parcel of the game, but I wanted a Pakistani fast bowler that could be remembered more than for just his spells. Mohammad Amir was supposed to be this amazing bowler, and then the match spot fixing scandal happened, and then he wasn't he didn't live up to the bowler that he was supposed to be. Same thing with Muhammad Asif. And then Shaheen Afridi was a glimmer of hope post Muhammad Amir retirement era. And I expected, Shaheen to be this phenomenal bowler, which he still can. But just from seeing, how much the knee injury has impacted him is disappointing for me to see it. But I really do hope that he does make a comeback and he gets the rhythm and becomes almost the same bowler that he was pre-injury.
Man, what I'm telling you is when you get an injury, right? It's not as psychological as you think it is. It's not as physical as you think it is. It's more psychological. I'm currently recovering from a rotator cuff injury. I tore it, and just doing simple acts of like picking something up from my left hand has become a task, because in my head I'm like, oh, it still hurts, even if it doesn't. So just getting yourself used to that kind of psychological pressure is probably what's having doubts in Shaheen Afridi's mind that he can't go full throttle. It'll take some time. I do believe that in crunch moments, the 140 clicks do come out. We've seen it a few times. At the end, I still don't think he needs to be at 145, 147 like he used to be. We have Haris Rauf, we have Naseem Shah to fill in that 5 to 10 kilometer barrier. Haris doesn't talk. Like, Haris keeps bowling at 150, and those are cute, like extremely quick deliveries, man. I was in the National Stadium and I was at least 100 feet away, 100 meters away, I should say, from the pitch, and I could hear Rizwan's glove. Like, this is what this used to say about Shoaib Akhtar, that you could hear reactionality for Moin Khan's glove as the ball passed by and they caught it. I could hear Rizwan's glove. That's how quick Haris is. Don't get me wrong. We have a very famous and very aggressive pace attack that's successful as well. So Shaheen going down a few clicks, I'm totally okay with that. Shaheen becoming an all-rounder at number 7, that's vital. That's a Wasim Akram position, Azhar Mahmood position. You need someone there.
Agreed. And I wish Shaheen the best of luck in this new arc that he has going. I wanted to touch base a bit more about what's happening in the world of league cricket. The USA just announced Major League Cricket as a league launching from July 13th to the 30th. Azam Khan and Imad Wasim have signed up. They're just awaiting the NOC from the PCB.
I actually saw Azam practice because I live right in front of Moin Khan Cricket Academy. And I saw Azam Khan practicing from my balcony like 2 days ago. He was on a cement pitch with the...
What time was it?
It's about 3 p.m., 3 or 4 p.m.
3 p.m. on a Karachi afternoon. How hot must it have been outside?
36, 37. It was quite hot.
And my man's out there crunching out the balls.
He was crunching them out. He was hitting, I think he was just hitting long shots. I was there. I was standing there. There were ground shots mostly. He was pulling and cutting and all that stuff. Not range hitting, but definitely going after the ball. I was there for like 10 minutes, and you can tell if it's Azam when it's Azam Khan. So I was like, yeah, that's definitely Azam Khan. He was on the cement pitches, practicing. So he's out there. He's trying to do something.
Azam is a very sought after league cricket player. The CPL loves him. The Lankan Premier League loves him.
Do you think Azam will ever come on our podcast?
We're gonna make it happen. Because like I was saying,
I feel like we've talked too much shit about him. I don't think he's.
But this is an opportunity for him to come clarify. Let's clear the air, Azam, and let's take it from there.
I don't know,
because following the Major League Cricket,
I feel like we're a lot more threatening than Rohan Nadeem is, and people would want to go to Rohan's podcast before coming to ours.
Yeah, she's doing a good job, by the way, too.
Cheers, yeah.
Love the last episode with Mohammed Hafiz on her podcast on Crickwick. So if you haven't listened to that, I would recommend go and check it out.
Yeah.
Following the Major League Cricket is the Canadian League, the GT20, happening
right. My number 2 favorite league
in Brampton, Ontario. It's coming back after a 4-year hiatus because of COVID and other issues. We're seeing it come back, and I'm hearing good things about it. I've heard Babar and Rizwan might have signed up along with Shaheen Afridi and Shahid Afridi. So some big names coming here. I'm always a big fan of watching cricket live. Living in North America, we don't have that many opportunities. So for this league to happen here in our own backyard, I'll be looking forward to it. The bad news is that Babar Azam has not signed up for this league. Instead, he's opted for the Lankan Premier League, which is also happening within that same time frame, July 31st to August 22nd. And that, I think, might have been a more strategic decision because the World Cup is in Asia in October. And there's still talks about the Asia Cup happening somewhere there as well. So Babar may have just want to get familiarized with the UAE conditions. And I think I've also heard it's a bit more money in the LPL compared to the GT20 in Canada.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want like the Canadian visa on your passport just in case you want to like, come and visit and stuff like that? I don't know. That's great. Do we have any word on Babar playing the Major League Cricket?
No, I haven't. Because the other issue is that, like I
my
mentioned
boy doesn't need a
before-
visa anymore, by the way, because he's a Harvard grad now.
Yeah. The other issue is that because, like I mentioned before, a lot of the Indian owners from the IPL have owned teams in other leagues, and they are reluctant on picking Pakistani players. So the one or two teams that have not been picked, that have not been owned by Indian owners, are still wanting to pick up Pakistani players. So that's still happening in the background. And, like you mentioned, Babar and Rizwan right now, as we speak, are in the USA. They've picked up a course from Harvard that runs for 4 days. In the past, ex-NBA players and ex-football players like Chris Paul and the keeper from Man U, Van der Sar, they have also registered and are alumni of that course. So great to see Babar and Rizwan investing in themselves, in their leadership qualities, and their speaking skills, because at the end of the day, they are ambassadors for the country, and they have an enormous platform with great, massive, huge events coming up, with the Asia Cup and the World Cups, and we have updates on those as well to give you guys. But thoughts on Babar and Rizwan at Harvard?
This is one of the biggest news that I've seen come out of PCB in a very long time. We hardly see this initiative come out where Pakistani players, like you said, are investing in each other or in themselves. I've been saying, and not only me, but Shoaib Akhtar has also been saying that we are lacking brands and superstars in Pakistan. Taking this course, it's a marketing course. It's a marketing course on how to brand yourself and how to understand, business around you. I think being business savvy, being marketing savvy, being brand savvy in Pakistan is extremely important. Babar Azam and Rizwan being one of the best players in Pakistan, one of the most popular players in Pakistan. I'm so glad that they did this course. I hope they learn a lot from it. It's this personal grooming. It's exposure to the world. It's understanding what goes on outside your bubble of cricket. Even though you might be the best in the world, you're not just the best ever in anything else. So it's good to do that. It's almost the curiosity is as interesting to me as when Kobe retired and he gave up basketball, but he took the creative arts, right? He won an Oscar. He was making children's books and all that. I'm not saying that's what Babar and Rizwan are going to do, but it's good that there's investing themselves apart from cricket. It's one of the best news. It's just wholesome seeing them just study for exams or whatever they were. I saw Babar's Instagram photo yesterday. There's fun stuff, right? That's what you expect these players to be doing, investing in themselves in times when it's their time off, and just being the best versions of themselves that can be. I hope they learn a lot and translate it back, teach it to their fellow younger comrades in the PCT, and basically have a ball from it.
Speaking of Shoaib Akhtar and his complaint of Babar Azam and not being a brand, Babar is right now the biggest brand in the country. What he represents is unlike what we've ever seen in the past, because we've never had a player like Babar Azam in the past.
Still no Babar Azam merch in PCB though.
Yo, coming soon. Babar signed up for a Pepsi ad, which is one of the biggest ads that you can do. I saw a video of his brother recording him driving on Lahore, and then right beside him was a massive billboard with Babar on it. Sort of gave me Irfan Junaid vibes when he was on the Zong ad. But again, Babar right now is the biggest brand in the country. The reason why you see Shoaib Akhtar or Wasim Akram doing ads for other companies is because those companies cannot afford to get Babar Azam on their ad campaign. So it's not because Wasim Akram is a bigger brand than Babar or because Shoaib Akhtar is a more popular player. It's because those brands or cannot match Babar Azam's rates that he charges for these ad
I
campaigns.
I found out the rates that Babar Azam was charged for the Pepsi campaign. I'll tell you off camera, but it's insane.
Really, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, why would you not? And Pepsi has been a company that has always picked up, cricketers and top A-list cricketers. So I'm sure whatever they're paying him is worth it, and they will get their ROI.
Yeah, I mean, Babar Azam's pictures is literally all across the city of Karachi right now. It's only two things that you can see on billboards right now. It's the Babar Azam Naseem Shah Pepsi ad campaign and the establishment military posters all around the city of Karachi. So that's all. That's all you got right now, buddy. That's all you got.
Okay, let's end this episode with such some updates for the Asia Cup and the World Cup. Last I heard was that BCB is still adamant on having some games in Pakistan. So we might be seeing a hybrid model where we see 4 games happening in Pakistan, either Lahore or Karachi, and these are group games for Pakistan. The other games for India and the playoffs and the finals will still happen at a neutral venue, which
So
I've heard
Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have also decided not to play their games in Pakistan. Is that what it is?
no, I think they have. They're the only teams who are playing.
So
And I think
will we see
I think
Bangladesh
Hong Kong
v
is also
Sri
there.
Lanka games in Pakistan?
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
All right, so there should be more than 4 games, right?
No, I just think there is just 4 games because there's 6 teams and they're going to put them in 2 groups of 3-3. So each team is going to have 2 games, and then the top 4 teams go to the next group stage. Basically, just a way to have more India versus Pakistan matches. So the next stage is 4 teams and every team faces each other once. So that would give Pakistan an opportunity to play 2 games, so 2 of their group games in Pakistan, and then 2 of the next group games of the top 4 in Pakistan as well. So I think it's going to be like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or maybe Hong Kong as well. But the idea is to bring cricket back to Pakistan because, eventually if India decides not to come now, they will have to come in 2025 when the ICC Champions Trophy is happening. Talks about India not coming to Pakistan and then Pakistan in turn not going to India for the World Cup. That is not happening. I'm telling you this right now on the Backward Point podcast. This is Bashar, that Pakistan will go to India for the World Cup. This is an ICC event. ICC pays you way too much money. And we're going to see Babar Azam bat in India in October. And speaking of the World Cup, during the World Test Championship final, the ICC will announce fixtures for the upcoming World Cup. So we'll know when to mark our dates for all Pakistan games and when the big India versus Pakistan game is going to happen as well. So that's just a few updates going around for the Asia Cup, the hybrid model. They still haven't decided where the neutral venue is going to be. Maybe UAE, maybe Sri Lanka, but still to be determined and confirmed.
Yeah, I feel like this is this is an ongoing story right now where the neutral venues are going to be. Again, it's all a mess. I'm not super duper a fan of this situation that they've found themselves in, but whatever works, however they can manage to fix this mess that we're in and have just cricket back. Let's put the focus back on cricket. Let's put politics aside. Let's focus on cricket, guys.
That's a good way to end this episode. You are listening to Backward Point. I'm your co-host Bashar. With me is from Karachi is
Nazar. Say yes, bro. Always.
You can support this podcast if you're watching on YouTube by subscribing, liking, commenting. And if you're listening to us on any of the audio platforms, it helps to follow, rate the podcast, and leave a review if you can.
We got a lot of positive feedback from our Q&A podcast as well, so we really appreciate that. That feedback, people showing love, people showing constructive criticism. Again, this is a podcast that's still building to its potential. We have not even scratched the surface of where we can take this. There's a lot of opportunities coming our way. We're being very hesitant with what we choose and which way we go, but we always love the appreciation that we get from fans. So thank you very much for signing up and basically trying to help and support the podcast. We get your DMs, we reply to as many of them as possible, to keep them coming as well. And we appreciate your support.
Absolutely. And if you want to be, up to date with our next Q&A episode, which I think might happen soon just because of the amount of questions and the quality of the questions that we got, you can follow us on our socials, Instagram and TikTok at Backward Point Pod. And you can stay up to date with everything that we're up to and when our next episodes are out.
Yeah. And I think with that, this is Nazar Sayed signing off from Karachi.
And this is Bashar signing out from Canada.
Cheers, guys.